Hello and welcome to this tutorial where we will be looking together at how to install and configure Kinesis API to run on a system. For the purpose of this video, we will just be looking at how to do it locally on our system, but the same instructions apply to every operating system that you will want to run Kinesis API on. First of all, you need to ensure that you have Docker installed on your machine, which you can do by heading over to the Docker website and looking at the instructions for your respective operating system. Next, you will want to head over to your terminal and run the docker run hello world command to make sure that Docker is running properly. Next, you will want to have a directory in which you will be working in, and in that directory, please create a data and a public directory. Those directories will be respectively used by Kinesis API to store the actual data for the database, as well as the files, mostly images uploaded by users on the platform. Next, you will want to create a .env file to store some more values. First, you will want to have a tmp password value stored in your env file. So you can just do an echo tmp password and a secret value that you won't want anyone to know. Next, you will want to insert an API URL variable in the .env file. The API URL variable will contain a value that will be used by Kinesis API during the first launch to configure where it will be accessed from. For me locally, I will be setting it to 127.0.0.1 and port 8080 since I will be running it locally. If you are running it on a server, you will most likely need to replace this by the domain name or subdomain or IP address of the machine that is running Kinesis API. You can run a cat command to see the contents of the .env file to make sure they are correct. You can also view the logs for the running Kinesis API container by running the docker logs-f Kinesis API command. Next, to access Kinesis API, please head over to your configured API URL value. So for me that was this address, where you will see something like this. Next, click on the web portal to access the actual features of the platform. The first thing that you will want to do is click on the initialize button in order to initialize Kinesis API with some default data and values. This will also create a user for you, which you can use to access the platform. The username will be root, and the password will be test123 asterisk. Since it is the first time that you are using Kinesis API, you will have the setup page where you will need to fill in some values. You will find information on every field on this page on the documentation. For a simple walkthrough, however, the environment right now will be set into production. The project name will let it be as it is. The API URL will be the one that we had configured in our .env file, so we will let it be the same one. And most of the other fields we won't touch. Front URL is a URL that will be used to access Kinesis API. If you are using another client or another frontend, this will typically be the value that need to change. Init code is the actual code or token, if you want, that will be used to reset the Kinesis API or to initialize it with some dummy data. You will want to change it to another thing. JWT expire is the amount of seconds that it takes for someone to have to log in again. A value of 3600 will correspond to 1 hour. The other fields, as mentioned, are also described on the documentation. SMTP settings are used to configure the actual SMTP features or capabilities of the platform in order to be able to perform some actions like registering new users or being able to reset passwords. For now, we won't fill it in, but it is recommended to do that. Next, you will want to click on Complete Setup, and you will need to sign in again. Now, you are on the dashboard page. Every setting that was configured in the setup page can be configured again in the configs page. It is also recommended to change your default password from test123 store to something more secure after you sign into Kinesis API. To do this, just click on your profile picture, go to Edit Profile, then head over to Account and click on Change Password. Then finally click on Save. If you want to follow the other tutorials of Kinesis API, you can also access it on demo.kinesis.world. The login credentials are just root and test123 store. Here you can mess around, but keep in mind that all the data will be reset every day. This isn't meant to be a replacement for self-hosting Kinesis API currently. Everything that we discussed and every action that we performed has been thoroughly tested and is described in our documentation. Please follow the documentation whenever you want to attempt something on Kinesis API. And congratulations for completing this first tutorial.